We've talked before about how starting over in midlife changes your thinking and about the emotional cost that often comes with it. In this episode, I want to talk about what actually comes next, not the big breakthrough moment that we tend to hear about, but the long middle we go through before we get there. That's the part where you're still trying with little to no result, and you're still struggling at times, and you're wondering what it really takes to find success as you now define it. Hi, I'm Diane Hatz, and welcome to A Writer's Life. This is where my life is right now. Once I gave myself time to grieve, rest, and start to heal, it became time to start making concrete steps toward my next phase. I republished a book I'd written many years ago and did nothing with. That's Rock Gods and Messy Monsters. It's up there. I spent probably a year editing, formatting, and figuring out how to publish it myself, and that was by choice. The whole process was a lot of work, but it wasn't dramatic. It was slow going. It was uneven, and I often hear myself alone in a room still with crickets, meaning without response or feedback. I am 100% focused on healing and building toward my new life, but my outside doesn't really look any different yet. And it can be confusing and frustrating because I thought there'd be a bit more momentum and visible progress by now. This video is about that phase, the slowness, the grief for the life you thought you'd have, and the kind of courage it actually takes to keep showing up without certainty or applause or even any attention. Nobody really tells you that starting over in midlife is slow, slower than you want it to be, slower than all those inspirational videos make it seem. There's a lot of internal work that happens before anything external starts to change, and many days it's just a slog. If you need to heal through therapy, journaling, 12-stepping, whatever it might be, you need to give yourself grace and understand you need time. During this phase, you're sorting through what still matters to you and what doesn't. You're noticing what you no longer have the energy to tolerate, and you're learning where your limits are now, not the ones you used to have. And I have a bunch of videos on all of that. And that process not only takes time, it doesn't move in a straight line. I would say the best gift I've given myself during this period is self-compassion. A lot of my work is learning not to beat myself up, to recognize that some mornings getting out of bed and out for a short walk is a huge win. And I'm learning what I want to do and how I want to do it. And it takes time to unlearn old patterns. So slow down, breathe, give yourself a break. What you're doing is challenging, and not everyone will have the strength to start over. So congratulate yourself every day that you get up and open the blinds. That's success. Something else no one told me about was that starting over often means letting go of the life you thought you were going to have, even if the old version wasn't working. There's grief in realizing that the life you dreamed about isn't going to happen in the way that you had imagined. I spent most of my earlier life waiting for my life to start. If I'm honest, I've spent most of my life always waiting for it to start. So a small example, I had these really beautiful china plates that had beautiful dragons painted on them. I kept them on a shelf for years so I wouldn't break them. They were for someday, for the life that hadn't started yet. In my early 40s, it hit me that this was my life. I was living it now, and there was no more waiting. So I took them down and started using them. I still use them today and know they haven't broken. When I lost my career and knew my life in New York was over, but I had no idea what was coming next, it felt like everything collapsed at once. Not just my job or my life in the city, but the version of my life I'd been unconsciously expecting. I had pictured myself being respected in my field, having a strong circle of friends, living comfortably in New York, traveling, going out to great restaurants, not famous necessarily, but established, rooted, seen. And when that future disappeared, it wasn't just disappointment, it was grief. Because I wasn't only letting go of what I had, I was letting go of what I thought my life was going to become. And grief doesn't mean I did anything wrong. It means I cared. And I still have days where I grieve. And finally, no one really tells you that starting over in midlife asks for a different kind of courage. It's not the adrenaline kind. It's not the bold leap, burn it all down kind. It's quieter and steadier than that. It's the kind of courage where you keep showing up without knowing how things will turn out or where you're actually headed. It's choosing to stay with your life even when it feels unfinished and untethered. It's making small, sometimes unglamorous decisions instead of grand declarations. It's the perseverance to build something slowly, often in the background, without applause or reassurance that you're doing it right. This kind of courage doesn't look impressive from the outside. A lot of the time, it just looks like getting through the day and trying again tomorrow. It's allowing yourself to change your mind and be okay with letting things take longer than you thought they would. If you're starting over right now, or even just thinking about it, please know that it's normal for it to feel harder than you expected. It's normal if you feel out of sync with the people around you. It's normal if you don't feel hopeful every day and you get frustrated and angry and want to throw in the towel. The key is tenacity and persistence. You just keep showing up and keep working on yourself and your new life step by step. Starting over in midlife isn't about optimism. It's good to have it, but it's about honesty and admitting what no longer works. And it's giving yourself permission to move towards something that feels right for you, even if you can't see where you're going clearly yet. So thank you for joining me. Until next time, stay true to you. Be well.